Hi, I'm Psiman and welcome to the 36th vlog on this channel. And today I'm going to be talking a bit about changes in my life recently and what those changes mean for this channel and you, the viewer. So let's begin by talking a little bit about the last video I put up. A handful of you watched it and it was a pretty lame attempt, I must admit, for me to kind of surprise you into the fact that I'm back in the UK. Maybe if I'd just put a video up saying, I'm back, more people would have clicked on it rather than it looking like a review for the wireless adapter for the HTC Vive, which most of you don't have. So yeah, that's probably a bit of a dumb thing to do on my point, but if you didn't watch it, hello, I'm back in the UK. I moved back nearly 2 months ago now. My contract in the UAE, where I lived in Sharjah, ended on the 15th or 16th of December, something like that, and I left a few days after that, moved back to the UK, stayed with my parents for a little while, and then moved stuff from, well, not from their place actually, because a little bit of stuff from their place, as most parents do. They seem to have things that their kids have just dumped in their loft or their attic, or as it was in this case, in my parents' spare room. And also I've got stuff in a storage unit in Hertfordshire, where I come from, and I've moved back down to the south coast of England, where my wife and I were before going away to the UAE. So it's really nice to be back. I've been looking forward to getting back to the UK. As much as I loved my time in the UAE. Not really got much of a bad word to say about the place. It's a very easy place to live. The people there were very welcoming, but it never felt like home. And in the same way that I loved my time in China. I mean, those of you who have been watching this channel for, well, since it started, will probably know that in my life so far, I've spent nearly 6 years living in China and now 3.5 years living in the UAE. So, you know, I've moved around quite a bit, and I loved living in China. Lots and lots of good memories from living there, but it was just a place that could never have been home because I could never be Chinese. I mean, that's the way things are over there. Even if I married a Chinese woman, I would never be accepted as Chinese, which is a bit of a shame, because a Chinese person can come and live in Britain and be considered British, and their offspring would be considered British. But China has different rules about immigration, and I think it's quite understandable considering the size of their population and the sort of, what would you call it, ethnic homogeneousness? Homogeneity? I don't even know what the right word is for that, but that they are kind of 90% one ethnicity, and then the other 10% of their population, I think, are a mixture of about 52 different recognized ethnicities. So you've got, I think it's about 90% Han, and then of course there are a lot of other foreigners living and working there, but they would not be considered Chinese. And in the same way, the UAE is a place where I loved living, but could never settle down there and call it home, because I would be too worried. And I saw this with other people that I know who were born there, lived there all their lives, and now in their 30s, and they know that when they get to 65, they will have to leave for a country that's not really their country, somewhere that they've never lived, that their family comes from. I think is quite a sad situation to be in. And I will wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want to be away from the UK for so long that when I'm forced to return to the UK, that it didn't feel like home anymore. I mean, I've got to admit, the UK has changed quite a lot in recent years. I wouldn't say in a particularly bad way. I know some people hate the changes that have happened to this country, but I quite like it. Some of it. But anyway, I won't get into the politics of the UK because that's something for other channels. I'm not interested in talking about that sort of thing on here. But as I said, so the main reason for me returning was because I missed home and I want to settle down. The main reason for going to the UAE was to save up money to get a deposit to buy a house. And I've got to admit, we did not save anywhere near as much money as we were hoping to, because it's an interesting place to live and there are a lot of things to spend your money on. And well, we managed to do that. But we managed to save more money, definitely, than we would have done doing the same teaching jobs in the UK. I mean, the problem we had before going was we could get by, we could survive, we could pay our bills, pay our rent, have a little bit of money to go away on holiday, and buy a few things. But beyond that, it was difficult to save. And so for us, like so many other people who are economic migrants, or in case I was an economic migrant, you go away somewhere where you can get a better salary, or as in the case over there, it wasn't so much that the salary was better, but there were no taxes and the company I worked for paid for accommodation. So, although I was earning roughly the same salary or maybe a little bit less than I would have earned in the UK, it felt like earning twice as much. Although some things were more expensive there, and so, it felt equal in some cases, but then other things were really cheap, and so you felt quite rich in some respects. But yeah, I'm back here now, and hopefully at some point in the next, couple of years, my wife and I will be buying a home somewhere that we can settle down and put down roots. Renting accommodation isn't bad, but I actually want to be able to decorate and do stuff to the house to make it my house rather than somebody else's house. And those of you that rent will probably be having, or probably will have had, the same sort of experiences that I've had, that unless you're lucky or unless you pay a lot of money for where you're renting, the standard of the decoration, the fittings and things are a lot lower than I would like them to be. But, it's not my place, so I'm not going to rip out everything and do all the decorating and then have to leave it when I go. So that's something I look forward to in a year or two. I guess it depends on where things go with the housing market and how affordable things become. I mean, I just don't know. These things are difficult to predict. I mean, I don't know if you're the same, but I was expecting the housing market to collapse a long time ago because the prices are so high, so much further above the average wage. The sort of, I was looking at something the other day that the average house price in the UK is nearly 8 times the average salary, whereas over the last 30 or 40 years, the historical average has been about 4 to 5 times and has been as low as 3 times the national average. So I've been expecting it to return closer to that average of 4 to 5 times the national average. But it just hasn't happened. So it's just a waiting game. I don't know really whether as much as I do want to buy a house, I really don't know whether now is going to be the right time. But who knows? Could it go higher? Could it go to 10, 15 times? No, of course it couldn't. Well, I suppose it could, because then you just have this complete strata of a rich land-owning elite and then peasants. So I suppose it could happen, but let's hope it doesn't for the sake of 99% of us. Anyway, enough about that sort of thing. You're here to hear about gaming, about what I'm going to be doing with this channel. I'll save for another video what games I've been playing recently, but I will just mention that I've just started playing another Battle Royale game. It seems to be very much at the moment that VR and Battle Royale games are what I'm really into at the moment. I mean, Battle Royales, I think for some people they're a bit Marmite, but I love them. I don't like Fortnite, didn't really get on with that, but mainly, and I think I've mentioned this in another video, because it's only third-person perspective, and I just don't feel like it's a nice competitive environment playing in third person, because often when I'll kill someone in that game, I feel like I'm cheating because I might be hiding behind a wall and they've got no idea I'm there, but I can see them, and yeah, not the sort of gaming that I like to do. But first person, I absolutely love. So PUBG, as I've mentioned before, is still a favourite. You know, it's had its ups and downs, and it's made me love it and hate it in almost equal measure. But another game, I have only played about 5 or 6 matches of it, but really enjoying it so far, is Apex Legends. So this is a new title. I think it's published by EA, but it's definitely developed by Respawn, and it's on EA's Origin service. And it seems to take a kind of cartoony look and feel of Fortnite, but better graphically. The gunplay of Call of Duty, and then a open world environment somewhat like PUBG. Yeah, that's the one I was trying to think of. So it's a really cool game, and it's free to play. It's free to play, which really goes to show that some of the best stuff that's out there doesn't cost you anything to get in on it. It will cost you a fortune in skins and things like that if you want to do that. But for me, I don't care what my character looks like. I don't want to upgrade them. It just doesn't bother me at all, which is a bit of a shame for the developers, because how are they going to attract me to pay money to play the game, or people like me? Maybe they don't need me to. Maybe it's just the fact that I'm cannon fodder, and that keeps people playing, who, of course it does, that's how it works. Yeah, so by being cannon fodder, by millions of us being cannon fodder for those that are willing to pay a lot of money to skin their characters, it keeps the game ticking over. So yes, that's the kind of gaming I've been doing recently. Not going to speak much more about that, but what I do want to talk about is the future of this channel, and where I see it going, at least for the next year. Because since coming back from the UAE, I have been unemployed by choice. And I mean, I've been busy doing stuff, but I've got to the point now where I'll have free time to invest in in YouTube. And that's really what I want to do. I mean, years and years ago, when I first started doing YouTube, I wanted to just quit my job and try and do YouTube full time, which can seem like a pretty crazy thing, but some people do it. And as I'm in a position now where I need to do a little bit of part-time work, but I don't need to work full time, that I can try and build this channel into what I envisioned it to be many years ago. So that's what I'm going to try. It might seem crazy because you might think to yourself, how are enough people going to want to watch you, me, to even get any revenue from this? But I want to give it a go. I really do. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it, but I think the first step is just make more content and try and get noticed. Put it out there. Network with people. Not join a network is not what I'm saying. What I mean is interact with the community a bit more. Hopefully there are people out there that want to see my kind of, dare I say, dull style of content and presentation, at least a very laid back style. I've had many comments over the years about how laid back I am, not just here on YouTube, but in life. And I don't want to create a persona to put out on YouTube, to be somebody I'm not. I think that would be, for me personally, would be very exhausting. I know there are YouTubers who do create a separate personality that they present online and then kind of keep themselves out. They kind of separate themselves into two different beings, but I don't think I could do that. And one of the things that attracts me to watching other YouTubers is that they feel real. That I think pretty much every YouTube channel that I'm subscribed to and watch on a regular basis, I feel that when they switch off the camera, they are that person. And I think that's what I try to present to you, is that, and I think it's coming closer and closer and closer to me as my confidence has improved, standing in front of the camera and talking, which has taken a long time, and it's definitely waned somewhat over those years. I've looked back at some videos and thought, God, you look really uncomfortable in front of the camera there. And when I look at it, I think, well, that's not really me, or at least not the me I perceive myself to be, which I suppose are probably, which are definitely two different things, aren't they? But that's getting into psychology there, and I'll steer clear of that because I'm not a psychologist. But what I'm trying to say, I think, is that, I just want to be me. And if me being me in front of the character and talking about the things that I want to talk about can find that few thousand eyeballs that would be interested in watching it, then maybe I can build some kind of subscriber base, some kind of community. I don't know. I mean, I don't know much about this. I've watched a lot of YouTube channels, but I'm not really sure how they either make a living out of it or kind of subsidize their living by doing it. I mean, obviously that's going to have to be the first step, isn't it? Testing the water. Can I generate a bit of income from YouTube that could supplement my life, that I could do some part-time work and see where it goes from there? And if after a year or so it falls completely flat on its face and I have to go out and get a full-time job, then that's what I'll do. But I feel really excited and pumped to make YouTube comment, and that's what I want to be doing. YouTube comment? YouTube content is what I mean. I mean, the comments, that's one of the things I love most about YouTube. I mean, it's one of the things that will, if I ever get to have thousands of viewers, dealing with all those comments will be quite a task. But the comments are something like that. The interaction between YouTubers is something I really, really love, and it's what attracted me to YouTube to begin with, and it's what keeps me coming back and wanting to make more and more videos. Because, all right, I don't know any of you in the real world. I don't know any of you personally, but I feel like I've kind of made a few maybe friend is not the right word, is it? But there are people who leave comments and have sent me private messages and things over the years whose comments and messaging I've really enjoyed, and yeah, continuing to build that and to build more of that is something to be quite excited about, I think. Well, that's the plan in some nebulous form, but the last thing I want to talk about is the type of content I want to be making and putting out. Now, I'm quite mindful of the fact that to be successful on YouTube, you need to put out content that the audience wants to see, but at the same time, I feel to keep yourself engaged and motivated to make the videos, you need to be making things that you feel passionate about. I don't want to just make videos for the sake of making videos. I want to make videos to share what I think about gaming and technology with you and hear your comments on it and interact with you. That's what I want to be doing. So a few ideas I've got are obviously to make the types of videos that I enjoy watching in the hope that you also enjoy watching them. So this will obviously be a lot of the same sort of content that I've already been making, maybe with a bit more polish and a bit more style and time put into it. But some of the core things that I'm thinking of, and one of the types of videos that I like the most, and again, this might be a Marmite thing for some of you, you love it or you hate it, are long form vlog, chatty type videos. When I think back to when I first started watching YouTube, one of the weekly videos I really looked forward to was Steve Benway's Friday Talkie. And it amazed me how personally I could look forward to that video coming into my YouTube feed on a Friday as much as the latest episode of whatever big budget TV series I was watching at that time. I mean, that's kind of amazing that something that's been produced on almost zero budget can attract my attention as much as something that has cost millions of dollars to make. I suppose that's the beauty of YouTube. I mean, I'm not saying that quantifiably Steve Benway's Friday Talkie videos were as good as an episode of Star Trek or Breaking Bad or something else that I might enjoy watching, but I enjoyed the experience of watching it and listening to him and reading people's comments on those videos as much as a big budget show. So I'm not saying I want to take Steve Benway's Friday Talkie idea and run with that, but a long form chat and talk video is something that I want to do. Just try and do it in my own way, my own style. I mean, I already kind of do those. I do my vlog videos, so it'll be more or less a continuation of that. Another thing that I really enjoy watching are news roundup kind of videos. So it's sort of news and commentary on what's been going on in the world of gaming and tech that week. And I know there are a lot of channels that produce these. I really enjoy watching them. I want to give that a go. Might be successful, I don't know, but I'm going to try in the next couple of weeks to get one of those up and get into a routine of putting them out once a week. Maybe on a Friday or a Saturday or or a Sunday, whatever it would be, the end of the week to round up what's happened. I suppose the weekend would be quite a good time because there's not a lot of news, or at least the websites that I read don't tend to put out a lot of news at the weekends, so maybe I can fill that void. Beyond that, another thing I'm very much interested in are tech reviews. And I've done a few little dabblings in technology reviews over the years, reviewing mice and keyboards and little bits and pieces. So I want to expand on that, review to begin with things that I've enjoyed using over the years, and maybe even, like for example, the camera I'm using here today, the EOS 200D. Maybe if I were to put out a review when that was actually a newer piece of technology, then it might have been a review that people would want to watch. But I feel these are kind of reviews that can reach out to a wider audience than would normally watch this channel, and if they're good, it might attract more viewers. So that's one other idea. Of course, those of you that have watched this channel for any length of time will know how much I love VR, and what I'm planning to do is do a lot more VR content, maybe some short videos about games that I've enjoyed playing, maybe keep them brief, sort of 5 or 6 minutes, maybe 10 minutes max, because they would be more or less gameplay videos with me talking about them as I play. And that sort of stuff's not hugely popular, but it's something I would like to try. Also, my little Hafool series, How Far on One Life. I really want to try to do some more of that. I know, again, they're not very popular, but I enjoy making them and they don't take too long to make. So there will definitely be more of those coming. But I think some of the bigger things, the things that involve more effort to make, than things that I really enjoy doing, are the Gamer's Living Room series of videos that I started many years ago, and in the interim I've been meaning to come back. I mean, I made my 6 episodes of it on that other channel, and I've been toying with episodes 7, 8 and 9 over the years, and have even, I think, shot all of them multiple times, or at least one of them I shot 3 times, but just hated what I produced. So I'm going to get into those, but this time I'm not going to be so picky. I think if I try to be too much of a perfectionist, nothing will ever get done. I was always thinking about raising the bar. I just want to get back in and finish that series, because I've got in my head 25 episodes of that I want to produce, and the idea will be to try and do one of those every month, and that will keep me going for a long time, nearly 2 years. So there's one other thing also that I'd like to do on a once a month basis, and that is video essays. I've got a few ideas rolling around in my head. I won't talk about them now, but about things relating to the games and the gaming industry that might make for some nice video essays. So I want to at least try my hand at that, because I find good quality video essays to be really engaging and something that I like to watch. So I think that's more than enough for me to have waffled on for nearly 30 minutes now. So what I'd like to know from you is what you want to see, and whether you think I'm completely nuts. Please feel free. If you think I'm a total idiot for even entertaining this idea, I'd love to hear that. But if you think, well, you know, there's a chance that you might be able to make a go of it and at least grow this channel, then let me know how you think I can do that by telling me what content you would like to see, and also what kind of schedule of timing, like what time of day you want to see videos, and how often you would be interested in seeing videos from me. So, from my spare room to wherever you are, this is Psiman signing off. Bye bye.